Revealed. My inheritance car sold for my sister's MBA. The touching truth at her graduation. In the heart of a small Midwestern town, Sarah, a 32-year-old mechanic, was known for her grit, her spirit, and her fierce determination. She had spent years pouring her soul into her family's garage since her father, a retired veteran, had fallen on hard times. Every wrench she turned, every engine she fixed, was a labor of love not just for the cars, but for her family. But now, with her sister Emily trying to chase a dream of an MBA, Sarah's loyalty was about to be tested in ways she never imagined. The day arrived when everything changed, when the bright red '69 Mustang, a cherished symbol of their late mother's dreams, had to be sold. The car had been their family's sanctuary, a piece of history that spoke of resilience and hope. But the thought of Emily, her sister who always deserved more, was like a rope tightening around Sarah's heart. Graduation day loomed, and Sarah felt the burden of her decision overshadowing her every thought as students celebrated achievements. Sarah's fingers fidgeted in her lap, anxiety rising with each cheer that rang through the gymnasium. She watched Emily, her sister, walk onto the stage, confidence radiating from her every step. As the cap flew into the air, the applause roared, but to Sarah, the room was silent. She felt invisible, a mere shadow in the brilliance of Emily's success. Just as the principal began to introduce the final speeches, Sarah's chest tightened. What was she doing here? Eagerly waiting for a moment that symbolized everything she felt she had sacrificed. Then Emily stepped up to the microphone, and every eye turned. The murmurs quieted, the tension palpable. Sarah's heart raced. This was the moment she had been dreading and yearning for. She turned to leave, but something held her there, listening. Emily began to speak, her voice trembling as she revealed the truth that behind every moment of her success, there was Sarah. The sacrifices, the late nights spent in the garage, the decision to sell the Mustang for her sister's education, all of it fell from Emily's lips like a song of gratitude. The crowd felt it too, the room swelling with emotion, hearts pounding in unison. As Emily shared the story of the car, memories washed over Sarah of family road trips, laughter, and their mother's gentle dreams. Tears filled her eyes. She met Emily's gaze, and in that fleeting moment, everything shifted. The sorrow of their sacrifice, the pain of their misunderstandings, was this the crescendo of all they had endured? But just as hope flickered, a loud noise from outside the gym interrupted their connection. The chaos pulled everyone's attention away, confusion swirling in the air. Sarah fought to understand. Would this one moment of revelation bridge the gap between them? The noise echoed, and with it came uncertainty. Had she lost her sister's understanding, her own pride, and what it meant to sacrifice? As the crowd swirled around her, Sarah felt her heart pound. Would this moment truly heal the invisible rift? Or was there more to discover? The pressure hung heavy, leaving her yearning for the resolution that remained tantalizingly just out of reach. Sarah stood frozen, caught in the whirlwind of emotions. The cheers and laughter of excited graduates mixed with the wild shouting from outside, creating a jarring contrast that echoed in her mind. She wanted to run to Emily, to embrace her and celebrate, yet the uncertainty gnawed at her. Would that connection still exist after everything? As the noise outside escalated, the air grew tense. Parents began to shift in their seats, whispering in hushed tones, casting worried glances toward the exit. Sarah's heart raced. Was something wrong? Her instinct to protect Emily kicked in. With a shallow breath, she pushed through the crowd, her eyes searching for her sister. Just as Sarah reached the gym's exit, a figure burst through the doors. It was Jake, their childhood friend, out of breath and wild-eyed. As he scanned the room, locking eyes with Sarah, a wave of urgency washed over him. "Sarah, you need to come quick. It's about the Mustang," he yelled, panic threading through his voice. Time shifted, and Sarah felt the world around her dim as her mind flashed back to the car. She honed in on the memory of Emily's speech, the pride of her sister standing tall, and the sacrifice that had led them here. What could have possibly happened to the car? Had the sale gone wrong? Without a moment's hesitation, she turned towards the door. "What happened?" she demanded, urgency curling her fingers into fists. "I'll explain on the way. It's a disaster." He gestured for her to follow, and without waiting for anything more, she sprinted after him, the crowd parting in confusion behind her with every step. Dread filled Sarah's gut. Had they lost the Mustang completely? Could anything erase the memories that shared that vehicle? That symbol of their mother's love? As they reached the parking lot, her heart sank. A small group had gathered around a tow truck, flaring lights slicing through the twilight. The Mustang was there, parked haphazardly, and it looked worse for wear. Was it stolen? She gasped, her voice barely making it out. But as she approached, she could see Emily standing next to the car, her eyes wide. The young couple who had bought it were there too. Frustration etched across their faces. "No, Sarah," Emily said, tears brimming in her eyes again. "It was an accident. They were trying to restore it. And now..." Her voice trailed off, struggling to hold on to hope. Sarah's heart broke. Instead of being a proud memory, the Mustang was now a tragic consequence. The gleaming paint was scratched, a dent marred the side, and it seemed to betray the love it once held. "I can't believe this," she whispered, feeling her knees weaken. But Emily stepped closer, determination lighting her features. "No, it's not over. We can fix it. We can make it right together." As despair threatened to swallow Sarah whole, something deep inside her reawakened. Maybe loss didn't have to mean defeat. Maybe, just maybe, this was their chance to rebuild not just the car but the bond they'd nearly lost. "Emily, you're right. We can do this," she said, her heart pounding, drawing strength from her sister's resolve. But just as they turned to gather more help, Sarah noticed a stranger at the edge of the crowd, someone casting a long shadow, a man with a familiar face. He was studying them, a knowing smile creeping across his lips. "Hey, who are you?" she shouted, the tension mounting once more. What was this person's role in their story unfolding tonight? Before he could respond, the energy shifted again, an undercurrent of unease sparking curiosity. Was he a friend? Or another twist in their turbulent journey? The night held more secrets, and Sarah felt the weight of the unknown press down on her, urging her toward the next chapter of their lives. The man's gaze remained steady, a flicker of recognition crossing his face as he stepped forward. The crowd's chatter faded, leaving an uncomfortable silence hanging in the air. Sarah squinted, trying to place him, her heart racing with a mix of fear and curiosity. "Who are you?" she repeated, louder, more demanding. He paused and took a breath, glancing at the Mustang before focusing back on Sarah. "I'm Thomas. Thomas Wells. Your mother, she was a good friend of mine." Sarah's mind raced. Memories of her mother flooded back, teasing her with fragments of conversations about lost friends and old dreams. "Thomas? I've never heard of you." When the stranger spoke again, his voice softened. "Your mom and I shared a lot. She loved that car more than anything. We worked on it together back in the day. I never thought I'd see it like this." Jake, hovering nervously nearby, shifted his weight from one foot to the other. Emily stepped closer, her expression a mix of confusion and intrigue. "You knew our mom?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "Yes," he said, nodding slowly. "And I know what the Mustang represents for both of you. Your mother wanted you to have it in perfect condition." His gaze dropped to the ground, hesitation evident in his expression. "I'm sorry for what has happened. I came here to help. I think we can fix this." "Fix it?" Sarah echoed, her disbelief unable to mask the flicker of hope sparking within her. "How? It looks ruined." He pointed toward the car. "It's not as bad as you think. I can help you get it back to its glory. I have connections, experience. Unfortunately, it's going to take time and money, but it can be done." "What do you have to gain?" Jake interjected, defensive. "Why do you care so much?" "Because," Thomas said, looking each of them in the eye, "your mom cared for me when my life was falling apart. I owe her this. I owe you both." Silence settled in again as they processed what he was saying. Sarah glanced at Emily, who was biting her lip, weighing the gravity of the situation. The chance to save the Mustang hovered before them like a glimmering promise, yet a part of Sarah still felt guarded. "What do you need from us?" Emily finally asked, her voice steadying. "Just your commitment. I need you to trust me. I want to help you restore the Mustang, but it will require both of your time too. We'll work together as a team like she would be wanted." As hope seeped back into Sarah's heart, the weight of what they were about to undertake loomed larger. It was not only about fixing the car but reconnecting with the love and memories that came with it. But what if trusting Thomas would lead them down a path they weren't ready for? Let us do it, Sarah said, impulsively wrapping her arm around Emily's shoulder. For Mom. Just then, a loud revving sound pierced through the tension in the air, pulling everyone's south eyes toward the road. A car sped past the parking lot. Sarah squinted, feeling the ominous question sit heavy in her chest. Was this truly where their journey started? Or was there more chaos yet to come trying to pull them apart again? Before she could voice her reservations, Thomas stepped closer. We will get through this together, he promised. But as he spoke, Sarah sensed a hidden urgency in his tone. What did he know that they didn't? The night was far from over, and secrets were festering just beyond the shadows. Would they unravel them in time? As the distant roar of the car faded, a nervous energy washed over the three of them. The sky seemed darker, thick with the weight of unspoken thoughts and lingering doubts. Sarah took a deep breath, sensing that the decision made in that parking lot would ripple across their lives in unforeseen ways. Okay, Thomas, Sarah began, her voice wavering but determined. Let us talk about how this is going to work. The man nodded, his expression a blend of relief and gratitude. I've got some tools and contacts I can reach out to. We need to take things step by step. First, we'll assess the damages and make a list of what it needs. Emily looked at the Mustang, her mother's pride and joy, now a blurry memory wrapped in rust and hopelessness. What if it's too much? What if we can't do it? Thomas stepped toward the Mustang, running a hand along its dented fender. It won't be easy, he replied, his voice steady. But just think about that first drive. That moment when it roars back to life. You can't focus on what it looks like now but what it can become. His words ignited something in Sarah, the spark of possibility. What do you need from us, Thomas? She asked, squaring her shoulders. Let us set aside a couple of hours every weekend for the next few months. You'll learn the ropes and we'll make it a project. If we collaborate, we'll rebuild more than just the Mustang. Jake finally stepped forward, his skepticism softening as he observed the determination smoldering in his sister's eyes. All right, he said, we do this together. For Mom. As the agreement settled in the air, a flicker of warmth enveloped them. This wasn't just a commitment to the car. It was a promise to each other, and to the memory of their mother. Sarah felt tears prick at her eyes, but this time they weren't from grief. They were from a feeling of empowerment, a shared bond set against a backdrop of loss. We should also set up a budget, Thomas suggested, as he pulled out a notepad from his jacket. Restoration isn't cheap. We need to plan. A shadow crossed Sarah's expression. Budget? With what money? We just lost Mom's savings. Thomas hesitated, then met her gaze. I understand, but maybe your mother had a plan for how to help you move forward. What are you saying? Emily asked, her brows knitted together. Sometimes people set things in motion without us realizing it. Let us dig deeper into what she left behind. It could be more than just memories in this car. An uneasy tension hung in the air once again. As the mention of their mother's plans loomed like a dark cloud, Sarah felt her heart race. What else had been hidden from them? Let us regroup tomorrow, Thomas said, sensing the weight of their emotions. We'll start fresh and dive into those boxes in the attic. That could unlock something important. The idea of sifting through their past sent icy fingers dancing down Sarah's spine. What if they discovered something they weren't ready to face? But they had made a promise now to save the Mustang and each other. The echoes of laughter and warmth they once knew felt like a distant song, but maybe they could reclaim it. They had the chance to revive not just the car but their connection as a family as they stood together, ready to embark on this unpredictable journey. Another car screeched into the lot, drawing their eyes once more. The headlights blinded them momentarily, leaving them feeling vulnerable, as tension crept back into the atmosphere. What is going on? Jake whispered. Something didn't feel right. What did this new arrival want? The night was still young, and so many shadows lingered in their path. Just stay close, Thomas instructed, his eyes narrowing. With anxiety knotting in her stomach, Sarah wondered, were they really prepared for what was about to unfold? Would trusting Thomas lead to liberation or unforeseen consequences? The headlights cut through the shadows, illuminating the car that had arrived with a sudden screech. Sarah instinctively stepped closer to Jake, her heart pounding as a figure emerged from the vehicle. It was a man, tall and broad-shouldered, with a confident stride that suggested he was used to being in control. Hey, is this where the Mustang is parked? he called out, his voice clashing against the stillness of the evening. Who wants to know? Jake replied, his tone laced with defensiveness. The man raised his hands, palms open in a gesture of peace. Easy there. I'm Ryan. I didn't mean to startle you. I heard about the accident. I mean the Mustang. What do you know about it? Sarah asked, her curiosity piqued despite the apprehension gnawing at her. I used to run a restoration shop nearby. I thought I could help if you're serious about fixing it. His eyes flickered to Thomas, gauging the older man's reaction. Thomas looked back at the siblings. Are we serious about this? Emily bit her lip, her eyes darting between all of them. She could feel the tension in the air. If he can really help, maybe we should hear him out. Right, Ryan continued, his voice smooth. I can help you figure out what parts you need. And I've got some contacts that can get you good deals. I also know how to source original Mustang parts. Why would you want to help us? Jake shot back, still skeptical. Ryan shrugged, a slight grin on his face. Maybe I like Mustangs. Maybe I feel bad for what happened. Or maybe I just want to see how that beauty can roar again. Sarah could see Ryan's passion, and she felt a twinge of hope. The thought of reviving the Mustang didn't just resonate with her. It felt like a lifeline to everything they had lost. All right then, she said cautiously. Let us hear what you have to say. As they put their heads together, discussing the details of the potential restoration, Ryan unfolded a map of local auto parts suppliers and his contacts numbers. Ideas flowed, excitement building with each passing minute. This was not just about the car. It represented their mother's legacy and a chance to rebuild their future. Jake, ever the practical one, asked, You're sure you can get us these parts? And that it'll fit the budget we have? Absolutely. I'll help you work through everything. And don't worry, Ryan replied, his smile reassuring. I'm all about making it affordable. The conversations flowed easily, laughter peppering the air as they began to strategize. It felt good to share this moment, emotions warming the chill of the night. But just as hope began to shine, Sarah felt a nagging unease settle in. She glanced at Thomas, who seemed lost in thought, his brows furrowed deeply. What's wrong? She ventured, her voice low. What if there's more to discover? He murmured, more to himself than to her. What if your mother's plan involved more than just the Mustang? His words echoed around Sarah, a reminder of the hidden depths they had barely begun to explore. She found herself clenching her fists, uncertainty piercing through her moment of joy. They had something to protect, but with every revelation, it felt like shadows loomed closer. What if Ryan's involvement sparked a chain of events that would reveal secrets best left buried? As the uneasy excitement mingled with anxiety, Sarah knew that the coming days would unearth not only the mechanics of the Mustang, but also truths that could redefine who they were. Tomorrow, she whispered, we'll start in the attic. Together. And with that, the reality of what lay ahead settled heavily on her chest. Were they ready to uncover the history entwined with their mother's life? Or would it shatter the fragile bond they were trying to mend? The following morning started too early, sunlight creeping in through the curtains, a gentle reminder that the day had arrived. Sarah sat up in bed, the thoughts swirling in her head like a storm. The attic loomed in her mind, a hidden space filled with memories and secrets. What awaited them there? She took a deep breath, pushing herself out of bed. The faint sound of Jake's footsteps echoed in the hallway as he shuffled toward the kitchen. She wrapped her arms around herself, almost as if to cradle the uncertainty pressing down on her. Hey, you okay? Jake's voice brought her back to reality. He stood in the doorway, sleep still lingering in his eyes. Yeah, just thinking, she replied, forcing a smile. It didn't feel convincing, but she hoped it would settle his concern. About the attic? He guessed, and Sarah nodded. Look, we knew this wouldn't be easy. But if we stick together, we can handle whatever we find. Right? Right, Sarah managed. She felt the warmth of his words wash over her. They would need all the strength they could muster. Emily joined them just as Sarah grabbed her hoodie. What's the plan? Are we really doing this? She bounced on her toes, her enthusiasm bubbling up despite the earlier tension. Yep, Jake said, moving toward the kitchen. Coffee first, and then we face whatever's up there. After loading up on caffeine, they made their way to the attic, each step heavier than the last. The creaking stairs echoed as they climbed higher, the air growing colder. Sarah's heart raced with anticipation to the top. They pushed open the door with a creak that sounded almost mournful. Dust motes danced in the beams of light filtering through a small grimy window. Boxes were stacked haphazardly, some teetering precariously. It smelled of paper and memories. "Where do we start?" Emily asked, eyes wide. "Let us look through these boxes," Jake suggested, pointing to the largest one. "It's got our names written on it." As they pried open the box, Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The contents were a mix of faded photos and fragile items, old newspapers, a rusty key, and a small scrapbook. "Whoa," Emily breathed as she pulled out one of the photos. It was of their mother, younger and radiant, leaning against the Mustang. A smile spread across her face, and Sarah felt an ache in her chest. "What's in there?" Jake leaned closer, examining the treasures before Sarah could respond. Something shiny caught her eye at the bottom of the box. She reached in, her fingers brushing against metal. Pulling it out, she held up a pendant, an intricate silver piece shaped like a Mustang. "It's beautiful," she whispered, feeling a connection to her mother's love for the car. But something else was there, an odd sense of foreboding. It wasn't just a piece of jewelry. It felt like a key, a sign that there was more to this story. "What's that?" Emily asked, her excitement growing. "I don't know, but it feels important," Sarah replied, her heart pounding. Then Thomas appeared, his eyes wide as he took in the scene. "Did you find something?" "Yes, and I think we're just scratching the surface," Sarah said, an uneasy thrill flickering through her. "What do you mean?" he asked, stepping closer. I think there's more about our mom, about what she wanted for us," she stated, holding up the pendant. Thomas frowned, a shadow crossing his face. "We need to be careful. Uncovering her past might bring up things we're not ready to face." As they stood there, the air thick with unspoken emotions, Sarah realized they were at a crossroads. They could keep unearthing pieces of the past, delving deeper into their family history, or they could choose to walk away, leave the memories intact, preserved in time. That a sudden crash echoed from the far corner of the attic, breaking the tension and sending a jolt through them all. "What was that?" Jake exclaimed, eyes darting to the source of the sound. Sarah's pulse quickened. Could it be just the old attic settling? Or was it a sign that more secrets were about to come tumbling down? With trepidation etched on her face, she pushed forward. Whatever awaited them was bound to change everything. Would uncovering the truth bring them closer together? Or would it break them apart? With cautious steps, Sarah led the way toward the farthest corner of the attic. The air felt heavy, as if the dust-laden secrets of the place were clinging to her skin. Jake and Emily followed closely, their expressions mirroring her own unease. Sarah reached the spot where the sound had come from, her heart in her throat. There, half hidden behind a stack of boxes, was an old wooden trunk. It stood closed, but the impact of the crash had loosened its latch, giving it a slight tilt. Sarah's fingers trembled as she brushed her hand over the worn surface, the wood feeling cool and soft under her touch. "Should we open it?" Emily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yeah, but let us be careful," Jake replied, his brow furrowed. With a gentle tug, Sarah pushed the lid open. The smooth hinges squeaked in protest but gave way, revealing a collection of items wrapped in faded fabric. She leaned closer, her breath hitching as she began to unearth the contents inside. She found a scattering of letters, worn and yellowing with age. Each one was tied with a fraying ribbon, the handwriting recognizable as their mother's. The sight sent a wave of nostalgia crashing into her chest. She could almost hear her mother's laughter mingled with the smell of fresh cookies baking in the oven. "Are those letters from Mom?" Emily's eyes widened, a sparkle of wonder in her gaze. "Looks like it," Sarah murmured, carefully lifting one of the letters. A lump formed in her throat as she read the familiar slanted script, her mother's thoughts spilling out onto the page. "Dear Sarah, dear Jake," she began reading aloud, the words filling the attic with their mother's long-lost voice. "If you are reading this, it means you have been brave enough to face the memories that have been tucked away for too long." The words tugged at Sarah's heart, filling it with a bittersweet ache. Her mother continued to share her dreams for each of them, her hopes, her worries, and the love that had never faded. Even through the struggle of her life, she read on. Something glimmered in the corner of the trunk. Another pendant, similar to the one she held, but this one was shaped like a heart, intertwined with a tiny Mustang. Her heart raced, sensing some significance in this piece. "What's that?" Thomas asked, leaning in. The sudden interest in his voice made Sarah flinch. He sounded concerned, almost fearful. I think it's a keepsake, she replied, gingerly lifting it from the trunk. Maybe it symbolizes something important, maybe it connects all of us. Sarah, Jake said, his voice suddenly urgent, be careful. We have to think about what we're digging into. This could change everything for us. The atmosphere felt charged, heavy with the weight of what lay ahead. Sarah knew her brother was right. The deeper they went, the more they risked uncovering secrets that could tear them apart or bind them closer together. Maybe we should keep reading, Emily suggested, her excitement tempered with caution. But before Sarah could respond, another crash echoed, louder this time, sending a shiver down her spine. Did you hear that? Jake's expression turned serious. Yeah, from the bottom of the attic, Thomas said, tension brewing in the air. As if on cue, the light in the room flickered ominously. Should we check? Sarah felt the uncertainty rise, a mixture of fear and curiosity urging her onward. What if it's just old junk falling? Jake suggested, but the fear in his eyes betrayed him. I can't shake this feeling that we're not alone, Emily said, inching closer to Sarah. Mustering her courage, Sarah nodded, ready to face whatever was hidden in the shadows. The attic was holding more than just memories. It was a gateway to a past they needed to understand, packed with secrets that could unravel them or help them heal. With her heart pounding, Sarah glanced back at her siblings. Whatever it is, we have to face it together. The moment felt heavy with promise and apprehension, as they prepared to step deeper into the unknown. What awaited them in the dark recesses of the attic could change everything they thought they knew about their family and themselves. And as they moved toward the sound, Sarah wondered if finding the truth would be more painful than the weight of the past they were already carrying. What would it reveal, and more importantly, could they handle it? The air grew colder as they moved cautiously toward the sound, each step echoing in the silence like a heartbeat. Shadows danced around them, elongating their forms on the dimly lit walls of the attic. The flickering light cast eerie shapes that made the old wooden beams seem like the looming ghosts of forgotten memories. Jake held his breath, straining to hear anything beyond the creak of the floorboards and the occasional rustle of old papers. What if it's just the wind? He suggested, but doubt crept into his voice. Sarah could see that deep down, he felt the same unease. Emily looked uneasy. Her fingers nervously grasped the edge of the trunk. This place gives me the creeps, she muttered, her wide eyes darting around. What if it's something we're not prepared for? Whatever it is, we've come this far, Sarah said, trying to sound brave. She could feel the weight of their mother's letters still in her hands, a quick reminder of the love and strength they had to uphold her legacy. With a nod, they reached the end of the attic where the sound seemed to resonate most. A large, dusty cardboard box sat tipped on its side, papers spilling out as if they were trying to escape. A sense of urgency washed over Sarah as she reached for the box, her fingers trembling as she pushed strands of her hair behind her ears. Okay, let us see what this is all about, she breathed out, half to herself. She pulled the box upright, revealing more letters and photographs, memories sealed in time. The names scrawled across the back of some of the images were unfamiliar. What's in there? Jake asked, leaning over to peek. Old photos and maybe some more letters from Mom? She reached in and pulled out a photograph. The image was faded but unmistakable, capturing a moment of their family at a picnic. Their mother beamed in the center, arms cradled around the three of them, a sense of joy radiating from her smile. Sarah's heart swelled with warmth. She felt a chill pass through the air, cutting through the warmth of nostalgia. The hair on her arms stood on end again. This is strange, she whispered, suddenly feeling an undercurrent of something darker lurking just beneath the surface. Then another sound echoed, this one more distinct. A low thump and then what seemed to be a voice, almost muffled, drifting up from the shadows of the attic. It was faint but undeniably there, and it sent a shiver down Sarah's spine. Did you hear that? Emily's voice cracked. Yeah, it sounded like talking, Thomas said quietly. His eyes darted towards the corner where the noise seemed to emanate. What if it's someone in the house? No way, Jake replied firmly, but Sarah could see the uncertainty in his eyes. It's just the wood settling or something. We're alone up here. But Sarah felt differently. The attic held its secrets tightly, and she was not sure they were ready to face everything it had hidden away. They had already opened enough doors, and now another waited to be confronted. Let us just check it out. Together, Sarah said, her heart racing. They all exchanged uncertain glances, each of them summoning their courage. As they moved closer to the corner where the voices seemed to drench the air in mystery, Sarah felt a turning point rise within her. Were they ready for all that was about to unfold? What if we're not prepared? Emily whispered, but it was too late. Curiosity had already taken hold. The moment they stepped into the shadows, Sarah caught a glimpse of something shiny lying on the floor. Just a few feet ahead, a delicate locket glimmering softly in the low light, almost beckoning them closer. Wait, there's something else, she gasped, feeling an inexplicable pull toward it. A new tension filled the air as they huddled together, staring down at the locket with its potential secrets inside. What it held could change their understanding of their mother forever. And as Sarah reached for it, a voice called out again, clearer now, sending both fear and excitement racing through her veins. Something deep within her knew this moment might just redefine their lives. What truths would lie within the locket? What stories from the past were waiting to be unearthed? As Sarah's fingers brushed the cool surface of the locket, a wave of trepidation washed over her. It felt alive, buzzing with secrets trapped within its delicate frame. Emily clenched her fists, her nerves evident as she shifted anxiously. Jake stood with his hands buried deep in his pockets, his face a mask of uncertainty, caught between courage and fear. Should we even open it? Emily whispered, her voice trembling slightly. What if it leads us to something we weren't ready to find? Jake added, uncertainty creeping into his tone. But Sarah didn't hesitate. The pull was too strong, and the voice that had echoed moments ago seemed to echo again in her mind, a whisper that urged her on. Ignoring the cold sweat forming on her brow, she clicked open the locket, revealing a tiny, folded piece of paper nestled within. Her heart raced as she carefully extracted the note, the fragile paper crinkling between her fingers. The room felt charged, every breath heavy with anticipation. Unfolding the note, she began to read aloud, her voice cracking as she recognized her mother's handwriting. To my beloved children, it began, the familiar loops and swirls pulling them deeper into their mother's world. If you find this, know that my love for you is eternal. What you seek is the truth of who I truly was. Sarah paused, glancing up at her siblings. Emily's eyes were wide with astonishment, and Jake leaned closer, hanging on her every word. The locket is a key, Sarah continued, her voice steadier now. Inside lies a memory associated with someone I loved dearly, a choice I made that would change our lives. The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. A choice? What did their mother mean? Was it something bad? The questions flooded Sarah's mind, but she pressed on. Her finger traced the edges of the locket, feeling the tiny engraving of a heart on its surface. There's more. It says, if you desire to understand, go where the rose blooms in frost. What does that even mean? Jake furrowed his brow. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? I think I've heard Mom mention it before, something about a garden, maybe? She always loved her roses. A flicker of excitement passed between them. Perhaps this was the moment they'd been searching for, a chance to uncover the truth behind their mother's past. The attic was already thick with secrets. Maybe, just maybe, they could unlock a memory that would offer them healing. Emily pushed her hair back nervously, her voice barely above a whisper. But what if it takes us somewhere we don't want to go? What if the truth is painful? Jake placed a hand on her shoulder. We don't know if that's true. It could bring us closer to Mom and to each other. Yeah, Sarah chimed in, her resolve strengthening. We owe it to her and to ourselves. They exchanged determined glances. United by the promise of revelation, they looked towards the attic door, dimly lit by the thin rays of moonlight filtering through the dusty window. Let us find the garden, Sarah said, her voice firmer this time. The shadows seemed to retreat, as if they were encouraging her onward. The group surrounded the locket, each of them holding on to the hope of what lay ahead. What stories would emerge from the roses and frost? Their world was about to shift, and the air crackled with the thrill of what awaited them. As they made their way down the attic stairs, Sarah's heart raced. The feeling that they were stepping into the unknown only fueled her courage more. With every step, she felt a rush of purpose, ready to chase down the memories that had eluded them for so long. What secrets did the garden hold? Little did they know that the answers would challenge everything they thought they knew. But as they reached the bottom of the stairs, another voice broke through the air. one unmistakably familiar. You shouldn't have come back here. Sarah's heart dropped like a stone. Familiarity clawed at her gut, both disorienting and terrifying. Mom, she whispered, her throat tightening. The voice was unmistakable, yet their mother was gone. The air grew thick, a suffocating mix of disbelief and dread. Who's there? Jake demanded, stepping protectively in front of Sarah and Emily. They glanced at one another, confusion swirling like leaves caught in a storm. Show yourself, he urged, resolve edging his tone. From the shadows stepped a woman, age-worn yet formidable. She looked like their mother, but older, weariness etched into her features. You shouldn't have come back here, she repeated, her voice trembling yet heavy with emotion. What do you mean? Sarah's voice shook as she tried to reconcile the haunting image before them. Who are you? I'm your mother, the woman declared. Yet the reality was iconoclastic. No, it couldn't be. I'm the memories you've avoided. The truth buried beneath years of silence, forgotten yet alive. The impossible weight of revelation settled upon Sarah, pulling her forward. How can you be here? She stammered, anxiety crashing upon her like relentless waves. I never left, the woman said softly, her gaze falling to the locket Sarah still clutched. I'm in every moment of laughter and every tear you've shed. You were meant to discover me through my gift, the car, the locket, and those letters. They were never just objects. She stepped closer, flickering in the shadows like an unsteady flame. Then why did you hide? Emily burst out, emotions colliding and erupting, her heart aching with every truth revealed. Why did you leave us? I thought it would protect you, the woman admitted, pain lacing her words. The world is complicated and so are families. There are things we carry, secrets that could hurt, shattered pieces of the past. But they are part of who we are. I wanted you to understand, to fix them. The atmosphere shifted, the air thickening with sorrow and longing, a wave of their mother's presence wrapping around them like a burning hug. The love that emanated from her made Sarah weak in the knees. Mom, I don't understand, Jake muttered, anguish flickering in his eyes. What is where the rose blooms in frost? There is a garden, the woman gestured, a brightness flickering in her gaze, where the memories have been hidden, preserved in time. Seek it. You'll find answers buried there among the petals. You must face the truths of our family, a choice I made, a love I chose, and confront them together. The truth echoed, love and sacrifice woven inextricably together. Sarah felt the courage swell within her. We can do this, she said firmly, knowing they had come too far. For you. And for the Mustang. The woman smiled warmly, a tear cascading down her cheek. Discover the garden, nurture the past, and mend what was broken. Only then can the Mustang roar back to life. I believe in you. The shadows blurred, a swirling storm of light swirling around them. With a final whisper, the vision of her mother faded, stepping back into the hidden folds of the past. The attic silence returned, but the spark of what they needed to find ignited fresh hope. We can find that garden, Sarah declared, her heart racing with newfound determination. Together we'll uncover not just the truths of our past, but the strength we hold as a family. Emily's eyes shimmered with understanding. I'm ready to take this journey, whatever it may reveal. Same here, Jake nodded resolutely. Let us finally set things right. Emboldened by the memory of their mother's presence, they stepped into the light, united by love and an unwavering commitment to reclaim what life had once taken from them. Joy and despair would meld as they sought the garden's embrace, but they were prepared to navigate the complexities ahead, and their hearts, the echoes of laughter intertwined with their mother's warm spirit, urging them to confront the unknown and transform their intertwined destinies, blooming from the frost of loss into vibrant blooms of healing. As they stepped further into the journey, Sarah felt a rush of clarity. This was the moment they had been waiting for, an awakening of a future shaped by understanding, compassion, and the unbreakable bond of family. They had opened the floodgates, ready to honor their mother and discover the depths of their lineage. The past didn't have to define them. With each footfall they moved closer to the truth, ready to embrace whatever awaited them next. Now the question hung in the air like an electric charge. What stories would they uncover at the garden where roses bloomed in frost, and could their family finally heal together? This is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and make these transformations reach others. Comment your reactions and feelings about this emotional ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of standing together. Let us grow this community.